Hi, in this video, you've learned wine processing technology. In the first part, you learn white wine manufacturing process, the main learning outcomes. What is meant by wine, its specific types, what are the specifications requirement and the production process and the equipments which are required for the white wine manufacturing process. Alcoholic beverages are classified into three groups. First one is the wine, second beer, and third one is the distilled alcoholic beverages. In which first, what is meant by wine? As per the Food Safety Standard of India, wine that means which is the product made from the grape or the grape juice in which the alcoholic fermentation under the anaerobic condition by addition of the yeast, and after that they are matured into the oak barrels, resulting we get the wine. Specifically, wine is mostly prepared from the grape juice because it's containing high percentage of the sugar which is converted into the ethyl alcohol during the fermentation process. As per the specifications, we should require to must declare with respect to the specific type of the grapes used for the production process, the specific origin or the locations where they are used for the production of the wine. The main ingredients used for the wine production process involving that is the first grapes and the second one is the yeast. Yeast is used in wine production process. The main culture is Saccharomyces cerevisiae and the second one is the Saccharomyces pianus. The specifically when yeast cells which are added into the grape juice, after the addition of these yeast cells start to the glycolysis process by the absorption of the glucose into the cell's body. Under the anaerobic conditions, glucose is converted into the 2-pyruvate by glycolysis process, and after that 2-pyruvate which is converted into the acetaldehyde into the ethyl alcohol plus carbon dioxide, and these are the release from this body and resulting we get the alcoholic fermented liquor in which the whatever the sugar is present, this sugar is converted to the ethyl alcohol and the carbon dioxide. This is the mechanism of or the principle of the wine manufacturing process or the alcoholic beverages manufacturing process. In which specifically the grapes which are used for the manufacturing of the different types of the wines. First, selection of the grapes on the basis of their its containing initially sugar percentage and the acidity level. These are the two important factors must require to consider. Specifically selection on the basis of their maturity. Initially before harvesting they check their content the sugar percentage and the specific acidity level. Acid to sugar ratio as per our requirement they can select or the reject the specific type of the grapes. Specific range of the sugar content requirement that is the 23 to 26% of the bricks and the pH requirement 3.1 to 3.5. These are resulting we get the desired quality of the final wine. Wine from the other fruits in which the fruits like the cedar which is made by the apple juice wine, then berries, then other fruits like the pineapple, mangoes, etc. Then second category that is the wine from the other agricultural and the plant sources in which the without addition of extra sugar, whatever the agricultural raw material in which the palm wine or maybe the bamboo wine, whatever the natural sources which are the converted into the wine by addition of the yeast or maybe natural fermentation process. In the specific production process, without addition of the sugar or the external sugar, whatever the plant sources containing natural sugar, these are converted into the alcohol. What are the different type of the wines which are produced? In which the wines basically classified into the three groups. First, that is the table wine is called as a base wine. Then second one is the fortified, which is the fortified with the brandy. And third one is the sparkling, in which the excess of the carbon dioxide and the alcohol, that is the second fermentation is carried out. Specific color, sugar, alcohol percentage, fortification process, these are the categories of the main wine. Wine types and its properties, in which first red wine. Red wine that means the whatever the color pigment that is the anthocyanin color pigments which is extracted from the grape skin into the final wine is called as a red wine. The second one is the rose wine, which is the intermediate between the red and the white wine, which is prepared by the combination of red and the white wine, resulting we get the rose color. White wine, that means without extraction of the color pigment from the skin of that the grapes, we can only extract the grape juice and then convert into the fermented wine. Sweet wine, that means it's containing excess of the sugar, that means may be added after the fermentation with the excess sugar at the level of containing not more than 4.5% of the sugar, that is the sweetness added with the sugar syrup. And the dry wine, that means it's whatever the sugar present which is completely converted to the alcohol without addition of the excess sugar required, minimum containing 0.4 to maximum 0.9% of the sugar. These are all table or also called as the basic wines. Then second category in which the fortified wine involving sherry, port, desserts. These are the main three types in which the sherry may be dry and sweet, maybe red and white color. Port wine, which is made for only from the red color of the grapes, and the desserts may be red or maybe green, or that is the white wine, in which containing excess of the alcohol percentage as compared to other more than 15%. Sparkling wine, that means it is called as also champagne, containing excess of the carbon dioxide, whatever the base wine is prepared. Then after that, again addition of the sugar syrup and secondary fermentation is carried out in the glass bottles or maybe into the pressure fermenter system. And after that, they are packed into the bottling system, in which containing excess of the carbon dioxide. When we open this bottle, due to the containing of the excess of carbon dioxide, wine is sparkling. What are the equipments required for the wine manufacturing processing? In which first the main equipment that is called as a de-steamer and the crusher machines. This is the recent developed machine in which we can de-steaming and the crushing both unit operations which are carried out in a single machine. After the receiving of the grapes, the first, that is the washing process, is carried out, and after that washing we should require to remove the stem from that grapes, and after these grapes are required to crush, and after that they are pressed into the basket pressing machine to extract the juice. That means the first machine required, that is the de-steamer crushers machine. Second one is the basket press machine, and after the extraction of the juice they are the first pre-treatmented by the sulfiting, maybe heat treatment, and maybe clarification or the filtration process. And after that, next one is the alcoholic fermentation, that is the anaerobic fermenter is required compulsory for the wine manufacturing process. After the completion of the fermentation, the wine is packed into the oak barrels for the maturation process. In between the maturations, their racking is carried out. Whatever the sediment particles, these sediment particles is removed by the racking process. And after the whatever the final wine is prepared, which is standardized as per the specific norms, and finally they are packed into the glass bottles or maybe into the plastic bottles. Main equipments, that means the first de-steamer crusher machine, basket pressing machine, then heat processing equipments, fermenter, then oak barrels, then standardization tank, and the bottling machines. In the wine manufacturing process, the main processing steps involving first receiving of the grapes. During receiving, these parameters required in which the main, that is the brix content and the acidity ratio is checked. After that, they are pre-processed of the grapes, in which first washing process, then separation of the grapes from the stems, that is the de-stemming, then crushing of the grapes to easy or the facility for the extraction of the juice by using roller screw or crushers, then basket pressing or maybe hydraulic pressing system to press out whatever the juice from the grapes after the extraction of the juice from the grapes. And then next one is the juice treatment process, in which the one or more on the in five treatment is carried out, in which important step, that is the sulfiting process, in which the addition of the sulfur dioxide gas, or maybe the addition of the potassium metabisulfate in order to inactivate the whatever the presence of the natural enzymes and whatever the wild yeast and other microbial load which are the come out from the grapes into the juice, which is inactivated by addition of the sulfiting treatment, that is the addition of the potassium metabisulfate into the juice at the range of 75 to 200 ppm. And then acidity adjustment by addition of the acid or alkaline as per our requirement to get the pH level, that is the 3.1 to 3.4. Then maybe heat treatment as per our requirement, or maybe enzymatic treatment to clarify the whatever the grape juice initially, maybe added with the other nutrients, extra nutrients, externally addition of the pure nutrients, ammonium as a ammonia acids, that means the nitrogen sources, vitamins, proteins, and the minerals, external additions. In which the important step, that is the sulfiting treatment and the acidity adjustment. After that, the pre-treatment of the grape juice. The next one is the fermentation process, in which the fermentation process under anaerobic condition by addition of the yeast culture, first alcoholic fermentation is carried out. White wine maturing process required 7 to 14 days under the temperature 7 to 20 degrees Celsius. After the alcoholic fermentation completion, some of the industries malolactic fermentation is carried out, maybe natural malolactic fermentation process or by addition of the specific lactic acid bacteria culture to reduce the specific wine containing acidity. That means malolactic, that means malic acid is converted into the lactic acid by the lactic acid bacteria culture. And after the completion of the alcoholic and malolactic fermentation process, the next one is the post processing treatment, in which wine is packed into the oak barrels for the aging period. That means aging, that means stored under the oak barrels of the wine for the longer time, in which number of changes are carried out, number of the chemical reactions which are contribute to the specific characteristic of the final wine. In between the aging process, racking is carried out. That means the whatever the sediment particles or the lees yeast cells, that means the dead yeast cells which are the deposited or the sedimented at the aging tanks, which are the separated by the racking process. And after that, filtration, clarification, clarified wine, which is packed into the packaging system, in which automatic packaging machines, in which bottle washing, then bottle filling, bottle corking, labeling, and capsulations, and after that bottles are packed into the secondary packaging systems. In wine fermentation process, first is the alcoholic fermentation process. You can see this is the graphical representation of the sugar percentage changes with respect to the time, and alcohol percentage increases with respect to the time of the fermentation process. In white wine manufacturing process required 7 to 14 days. During the fermentation process, whatever the initial containing the bricks, that is the 20 or maybe 24, which is the bricks is decreases with respect to the time of the fermentation process, and finally this bricks is remain constant, then we can conclude that the fermentation process is completed. The whatever the alcohol percentage which are the increases with respect to the specific type of time of the fermentation process, that means sugar which is converted into the ethyl alcohol during the fermentation process. The first alcoholic fermentation which would require to at least 1 to 2 weeks under the control condition fermentation, and after the completion of the alcoholic fermentation, this wine remain whatever the specific, that is the second malolactic fermentation is carried out on the same fermentation tank, or maybe so into the separate fermentation tank, in which the malolactic fermentation, it is the term, that means in which the malic acids which are the present in the wine, which is the pungent and the sour taste, that means that is more acidic in nature, which should require to convert into the slightly reduce their acidity with respect to the pungency and the sour taste. That means malic acid is converted to the lactic acid by addition of the lactic acid bacteria culture. That means maybe added externally culture, or maybe whatever the presence of the natural lactic acid bacteria which is convert the malic acid into the lactic acids. That means alcoholic fermentation, after that they are stored under the same fermentation tank, or maybe into the different for 1 to 2 weeks again. specific control temperatures in between the malic acids converted to lactic acids and reduce their acidity. And after that, this wine is filtered and transferred into the oak barrels for the maturation process. The main other important processing steps in which the racking process, or which is the intermediate between the aging process after the clarification of the filtration of the wine, which are the transferred into the oak barrels. These are the oak barrels in which the wine is filled and properly they are sealed and stored into the wines under the oak barrels for the long time storage. Whatever the wine containing sediment particles, then dead yeast cells, and whatever the containing of the other insoluble constituents which are the deposited at the bottom due to the sedimentation process, and intermediate between the aging process. That means the aging process required to long term, maybe 1 year, 2 year to 5 year. In during the storage of the long term wine, number of the intermediate chemical reactions which are the contribute to the specific characteristic with respect to the taste and the flavor of that wine. This sediment particles is separated is called as the racking process. This without disrupting of this sediment particles, whatever the wine, clear wine, which is the separated from the in this oak barrel and transferred to the second oak barrel, is called a racking process. And aging, which provide the specific volatile components, contribute to the specific taste and the flavor of the final wine. And after that aging process, the wine is bottling process is carried out in which the using the glass bottle or by using plastic bottles bottling system, automatic bottling lines, filling is carried out and then secondary packaging. These are the references used for the preparation of this PowerPoint presentation. In this video discussion you learn white wine manufacturing process, equipment requirements, and manufacturing processing steps. And the next video you learn different type of the wines in with the red and rose wine manufacturing process, then fortified and the sparkling wine manufacturing process, and other wine in with the pineapple and the cedar wine manufacturing process. Thank you very much.